Shri Shiras Viharini Ju ki jai, Shri Bade Shi ki jai, Shri Hari Raji ke Shiksha Patra ki jai ho. Sab Vaishnavan ko, Sadar sa Prem, Sananda sa Denya, Jai Shri Krishna. Today is day 80 of our readings. Rajkishori Seva Trust reads the Shiksha Patra. Today is day 80. We are reading letter 32 and starting with verse 1. In this 32nd letter we read how our Lord will never enter a heart that is full of impurities. Like greedy, selfish desire, but will immediately enter a heart full of humility. In the previous letter we learned how the Lord's grace is the only way for any undertaking to be perfected, because then all the 5 main forms of ignorance are annihilated. Knowledge is established and the Lord takes up residence in the heart. Ignorance will be described in 5 verses and knowledge in another 5. Thus this letter has 10 verses. The 5 forms of ignorance are told first because it is only when they leave that good knowledge can enter the heart. When Sri Krishna was fully manifested upon this earth, he removed the ignorance of all the devotees and their hearts became full of unadulterated knowledge. This has been described in Sri Acharyaji Sri Subodhaniji treatise. According to this, Sri Hari Raji now explains. Verse 1. Sri Hari will never enter the heart of one who is filled with desires and anger, very attached to the mundane world, overtaken by greed and obsessed with accumulating more wealth. Tika 1. The Lord will not enter the heart of one who is steeped in ignorance. Sri Acharyaji has described this state of being full of lust and other faults in his Sannyasa Nirane, Conclusions on Renunciation treatise. Sri Hari cannot reside in the hearts of those who, embodied souls, who are full of lusty, selfish desire. There are other statements to this effect. The heart may be free of lust, but full of anger. This anger is like a sinful being of dirty habits, and how can we expect the Lord to enter the heart where anger with its foul form resides? It is a huge obstacle. The Lord does not enter the heart of one who is overly attached to their mundane world, worldly relations and family members, and to the constant striving to feed and fend for them. Greed is the next obstacle. In the pursuit of wealth one deceives and thieves, considering wealth to be everything, and spends the whole time counting money, and then becomes the object of the greed of worldly relations and friends. When one is so dependent on wealth, one will even make a display of one's Vaishnava dharma, behaving like and wearing the garb of a religious devotee in order to get money, for the sake of which one tells lots of tales, so then the mind gets fixed upon it. The Lord will never enter such a heart. Verse 2. The Lord also never enters the heart of one who lacks compassion and affection, who is never content, is bewildered by grief, overcome with fear, and absorbed in worldly pleasures. The Lord will never reside in the heart of one who has no compassion and injures other beings, who gets pleasure from the pain of others and has no pity, nor of one who has no affection even for accomplished devotees, and whose dried-out heart is thus incapable of tasting the joy of hearing the Lord's pastimes. Such a one is never content and spends their whole time lamenting their business deals and thus doubting their situation. The Lord cannot reside in such an unsatisfied heart, nor can he take his place in the heart of one who is constantly bemoaning their lot, and who is perpetually troubled by their relations and their household situation, and wondering how they will get by. These beings are full of such grief from birth to old age, trembling with fear of the government, the age they live in, thieves, relatives, their social circle, and this fear overtakes their hearts. Thus he will never reside there. They are always intent on finding ways to fulfill their worldly desires, and if they do not complete their cravings, they scheme, if I act like a Vaishnava devotee, then I will be given nice goodies to eat and fine clothes to wear. They desire to have extramarital affairs with women and moan if they don't get to do this. The Lord cannot live in the heart of one who is thus fully involved in the contemplation of worldly desires. Verse 3. The Lord will never reside in the heart of one who is egotistical, cruel, who takes sides with the wicked, follows the path of knowledge, and thinks him to be on the same level as all other gods and goddesses. Tika 3. An egotistical person thinks themselves to be above all others, very wise and a great devotee who performs so much service and remembrance of the Lord, as well as many pious acts of worship. They think that they alone sustain their whole family, and that everyone bows to their command. The Lord will never enter their heart, nor will he enter into the heart of one who is cruel, always thinks negatively of others, looks for opportunities to cause suffering, and whose outlook and speech are crooked. He also will not reside in the heart of one who steals, is corrupted, and ruins others thereby, and who favours those who behave thus. A person on the path of knowledge does not nourish the devotional mood of a servant to his master, and has no clue about the Lord's form, which is full of all divine qualities, thinking him to be formless. The Lord will not enter their heart, nor will he approach the heart of one who considers him to be on a par with Brahma, Mahadev, Ganesh, Indra, and other gods, and who takes equal shelter in all of them, whilst wishing for a reward from each and every one of them. This constitutes anyashray, or taking devotional refuge in any other than Sri Krishna. Verse 4. The Lord will not reside in the heart of one who indulges openly in the mundane world, but opposes devotees and finds faults in Sri Krishna's pastimes while being stubbornly attached to the path of action. Tika 4. The Lord will never reside in the heart of one who indulges openly in worldly affairs, whose mind is totally absorbed in illusory imaginings, and whose speech is false and impure. Nor will he enter the heart of one who criticizes and troubles the accomplished devotees. Sri Krishna and his pastimes are both full of pure bliss and faultless, and so the Lord boycotts the heart of one who misunderstands his pastimes as being lusty dealings with married women. He will also never reside in the heart of one who is inextricably attached to the path of action and reward, and who neglects the Lord's service in favour of seeking reward from rituals for ancestors and daily ritual prayers, thinking them to be superior. These beings have no love or respect of the path of love for the Lord, and so he does not enter their heart. Verse 5. Sri Krishna will not reside in the heart of one who opposes Sri Acharyaji and decorates themselves with false doctrines. Tika. In the path of grace, Sri Vallabhacharyaji is very important, and so the Lord will not reside in the heart of one who opposes him, who makes him a mockery of the beautiful stories of the Lord's pastimes, who makes a mockery of the beautiful stories of the Lord's pastimes while speaking untruths and enjoying nonsensical, worldly chatter. Thus we have looked at the above 22 forms of ignorance, and know that the Lord will not enter the heart of one who is replete with such ignorance, nor will such souls ever experience the Lord's presence within their hearts. Therefore a Vaishnava devotee stringently avoids such faults. And now we will consider the qualities through which the Lord will come into our hearts. Thus concludes verse 5. Thus concludes the reading for today, and we continue with this tomorrow on day 81. Aaj ke Anand ki jai ho, Shri Acharya ji ki jai ho, Shri Hari Rai ji ki jai ho, sab Vaishnavan ko sadar, sab prem, sadenya, sanand, Jai Shri Krishna, Shri Shri Ras Viharani ji ki jai ho ji, Jai Shri Radhe.